Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating philosophical journey all about the power of extreme, unapologetic focus. We're going to be unpacking a highly thought-provoking text by an author named Xu, and the core premise we're exploring today is pretty bold. What actually happens when we drastically limit our scattered desires and focus all of our human energy onto a single point? I mean, can letting go of the things we chase every single day actually give us everything we want? It's a radical concept about energy, desire, and ultimate fulfillment. So let's break it all down, step by step.
To kick things off, the author actually hooks us with a pretty striking historical example. The text argues that Adolf Hitler's ultimate downfall was structurally guaranteed by his battlefield strategy. Setting aside the arrangements of heaven, the author points out that Hitler spread his energy across far too many fronts simultaneously. The opening of the massive Eastern Front is presented as the ultimate example of how scattering energy and resources broadly just leads to disaster. In stark contrast, the author argues that to truly stand out and succeed in anything, you've got to employ a strict single-point strategy.
Okay, let's dive right into the core definition that anchors this entire explainer. Eliminate one source of profit, amplify efforts tenfold. According to the text, this isn't just a catchy phrase. It's practically a mathematical formula for generating powerful strength. The whole idea is that our energy is naturally potent, but we dilute it by wanting way too many things, what the text calls sources of profit or societal benefits. By drastically limiting these scattered desires and forcing all of that energy onto a single point, the text claims we can achieve ultimate fulfillment.
To really picture this, the text uses a brilliant physical metaphor: the solar cooker. Just imagine hundreds of small, scattered mirrors. Individually, they just reflect a tiny bit of warm light, right? But when you angle them to focus all of that sunlight onto one exact spot, that gentle warmth becomes dangerously hot, literally hot enough to boil pots of cold water. The author uses this to show us that human energy works the exact same way. Focus is the mechanism that turns weak warmth into boiling power.
The source material then points to ancient teachings to show just how immense, almost magical, this kind of single-pointed energy can be. It cites Jesus, who taught that faith as small as a mustard seed is enough to instantly move a tree into the sea. The text argues that the reason we can't achieve incredible feats like this today isn't because the teaching is wrong, it's because our energy is simply way too scattered to muster even a mustard seed's worth of pure, undivided focus.
So you're probably wondering, what exactly is scattering our energy today? Well, the author contrasts that pure mustard seed faith with our modern reality. Think about it. We want to be wealthy. We want a high official position. We want to be a respected scientist, a brilliant artist, or a famous musician. And, as the text notes, some people even want supernatural abilities on top of all that. The author's point is stark here. If we simultaneously want all of these things, we guarantee that our energy remains a weak, scattered light. We end up mastering none of them.
Moving into part 1, going beyond the physical senses and activating the spiritual.
The text posits a fascinating idea here, that we actually possess two distinct sets of senses, the physical and the spiritual. The author argues that our spiritual senses remain entirely dormant precisely because we rely way too heavily on our physical ones. Sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. We pour all of our sensory energy into the physical world, which leaves absolutely nothing left to activate our spiritual perception. The text suggests it's basically a zero-sum game. To awaken the spiritual, you must consciously withdraw your reliance on the physical.
To drive this home, the author poses a really vivid thought experiment. Imagine for a second that you are suspended in midair. Now cover your eyes, block your ears. Without the grounding touch of the earth, without sight, and without sound, how do you perceive the world? The text argues that in this state of sensory deprivation, you'd be forced to rely entirely on your spiritual senses. It's an exercise designed to show how eliminating the physical amplifies the spiritual.
Now, where does this sensory withdrawal actually lead? The text makes a massive claim here. If you develop these spiritual senses highly enough, you reduce your reliance on your physical body entirely. The author asserts that, theoretically, life could be sustained by pure mental energy. In such a highly realized state, the text suggests a person could even control life and death at will, choosing to stay in the human world to enjoy it or just leaving whenever they wish.
That brings us to part 2, the actual amplification of focus and its exponential power.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the math the author uses to describe letting things go. There is a compounding exponential power to eliminating desires. Step 1, If you eliminate just one source of profit, one worldly attachment, you don't just get a little better, you amplify your efforts tenfold. Step 2 takes it even further. Eliminate 10 sources of profit, and your efforts are amplified 100-fold. The more distractions you cut out, the more mathematically explosive your remaining focused energy becomes.
To back up this math, the author points to major historical figures. Jesus taught giving up family and property. Lao Tzu taught putting oneself last to preserve the true self. The Buddha taught freedom from the notions of self and others. The text objectively argues that these teachings aren't about being heartless or cruel. Rather, the real purpose is to better direct our emotions and achieve supreme enlightenment wisdom. Giving up worldly attachments is framed here as a deeply practical, necessary step toward ultimate power.
Moving on to part 3, saving yourself first, because self-reliance is key.
The text presents a pretty tough dilemma here. Ask yourself, if your own swimming skills are completely inadequate, how can you possibly save your parents and children if they're struggling in the water? It directly challenges our noble instinct for self-sacrifice. The author uses this powerful imagery to emphasize that self-reliance simply has to come first. Before you can save the world or even your own family, you have to save yourself. And it's not just about your skills, it's about the vast ocean itself. Let's say you somehow manage to grab them. Then what? Where is the shore? Where will you take your rescued loved ones if you don't even know where you are? The author makes the harsh but pragmatic point that attempting to save others without knowing your own future is entirely futile. The text actually compares this to blind teachers in the world who, lacking their own enlightenment, end up completely misleading their disciples.
Which leads us to part 4, letting go to gain, and specifically eliminating desires.
So, what exactly are we supposed to let go of? The text lists out some fundamental societal benefits that we must bravely eliminate. Get ready, because it's a long list. Parents and children, studying, working, making friends, serving society, marriage, earning money for a car and house, and seeking honor and status. The author argues that if you can eliminate even 1, 2, or 3 of these scattered pursuits, you can amplify your efforts tenfold to accomplish life's truly great things. It's a wild paradox. By letting go of everything society tells us to chase, we supposedly gain the actual focus needed to succeed.
Now, if that sounds like you'll just end up with nothing, the text cites an ancient Chinese proverb to reassure us. In books, there are houses of gold. In books, there are beauties like jade. The author's interpretation here is clear. Do not rush to frantically pursue immediate, short-term benefits like wealth and relationships. If you focus singularly on your core path, in this case studying the books, everything you desire will eventually and naturally come to you.
This all culminates in part 5, the Lifechanyuan roadmap to ultimate focus.
The author concludes that this entire philosophy is actually the foundation for something called Lifechanyuan. The prescribed action is eliminating those short-term societal benefits we just talked about and fully committing to building Lifechanyuan by strictly following its guide's roadmap. And the promised reward for this extreme focus? The text states that in Lifechanyuan, everything is available. By abandoning scattered worldly desires and trusting the guide, the author claims you will obtain whatever you seek.
We've definitely covered some profound ground today, exploring how focusing scattered energy can theoretically unlock incredible power. The text leaves us with a core principle. Gradually eliminating a few sources of short-term benefits leads quickly to long-term rewards. So, looking at your own life and your own scattered energies, I want to leave you with this final thought drawn straight from the material. What short-term benefit will you eliminate to amplify your efforts tenfold?